Hello and welcome to African News on VOP TV. I am David Edwin. We begin the news in Mozambique, where more than 1,000 people in Mozambique dying because of lack of care amid health workers' strike. The strike by 50,000 union members began 3 weeks ago after negotiations over working conditions collapsing. Union leader Anselmo Mucave said that doctors are not on strike, but many health facilities did not employ them. Mucave also said most of reported deaths were in the provinces of Inhambane and Sofala, as the union received information every day about deaths, adding that the worst affected facilities are those staffed only by health workers and not doctors. Nurses, psychologists, drivers, and cleaners are among those striking for overtime allowances and better medical equipment, and the workers were forced to strike because they face such dire conditions which the government was refusing to confront. Meanwhile, the health ministry had in the past accused the Association of United Health Professionals of Mozambique of exaggeration over the death toll, but are yet to give the exact figure of number of dead patients. Health infrastructure is limited across Mozambique, with fewer than 3 doctors per 100,000 persons, one of the lowest doctor-to-population ratios in the world. According to the U.S. Agency for International Development, more than half of Mozambicans work an hour or more to their nearest health facilities, and it is common for medicine to be out of stock or in short supply. And from there, we move to Egypt, where the death toll from the passenger minibus that fell into the Nile River in Egypt on Tuesday has risen to 11. According to Hossam Abdel Ghaffar, spokesperson for the Egyptian Ministry of Health and Population, the accident occurred in Giza province near Cairo, involving a minibus carrying about 20 female farm workers. The health ministry dispatched 8 ambulances to the scene, treating some injured on site. Reports indicate that the driver left the handbrake released, causing the minibus to slide into a ferry. The ferry, operating with an expired license and violating safety conditions, has prompted authorities to launch an investigation into the incidents. Still in Egypt, Egyptian Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry has departed Cairo for Tehran to attend the memorial ceremony for late Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi and his companions. This marks the first visit by an Egyptian foreign minister to Iran since diplomatic ties were severed in 1979 following Iran's Islamic Revolution. The Egyptian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ahmed Abu Zaid confirmed Shoukry's participation in the ceremony, which commemorates Raisi, the Iranian foreign minister, and 6 others who perished in a helicopter crash. Acting President Mohammed Mokber and caretaker Foreign Minister Ali Bagheri will host delegations from over 50 countries at the event. And then in Mali, Malian Professor Etienne Fakaba Sissoko has been sentenced to 2 years in prison with 1 year suspended for criticizing the military government in a book. The 41-year-old economic professor at the University of Bamako was also ordered to pay a fine of 3 million cefas, that's about $4,900. Sissoko's book, which examines the military's government's use of propaganda, manipulation, and lies to influence public opinion during the promised transition period leading back to civilian rule, has been deemed critical of the government. The professor's writings have been seen as a threat to the military junta's power, leading to his arrest and subsequently sentencing. This is not Sissoko's first run-in with the authorities. In 2022, he was jailed for criticizing the government's stance on Christmas celebration and questioning the validity of his academic credentials. His previous arrest and sentencing sparked outrage among academics and human rights activists who saw it as an attack on freedom of expression and academic freedom. Sissoko's lawyers has announced plans to appeal the verdict, citing concerns about the professor's freedom of expression and the right to criticize the government. The case has sparked widespread concerns among Malians and international observers who see it as a test of the military government's commitment to democratic values and human rights. The sentencing of Sissoko has also raised questions about the state of academic freedom in Mali, where professors and researchers are increasingly self-censoring to avoid government's reprisal. You're watching the African News on VOP TV. Ahead of African News, Chadian Prime Minister Mansour resigns after loss of election. We'll bring you this and more after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Chadian Prime Minister Success Masra has submitted his resignation to the newly elected junta chief, Muhammad Idris Deby Itno. This move comes after Masra lost the presidential election to Deby Itno, who took power in the military coup in 2021. Masra had contested the election results, calling the vote a masquerade and claiming victory. However, Deby Itno was declared the winner, and Masra's resignation marks the end of the transition government. Deby Itno, the son of former President Idris Deby Itno, who ruled Chad for 30 years, took power after the father's assassination by rebels in 2021. He has been leading a military junta since then and called the election to transition to civilian rule. However, the election was widely criticized by opposition parties and international rights groups who questioned its credibility and fairness. Mansour's resignation is seen as a constitutional move as the transition government's term has ended with the election. However, it also marks a significant shift in power as Deby Itno consolidates his hold on the country. The international community, including the United States and France, has congratulated Deby Itno on his election despite concerns about the vote's legitimacy. The development has implications for Chad's political future and its role in the regional fight against jihadism. Chad is a key player in the Sahel region's security dynamics, and its stability is crucial for the broader region's security. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS Parliament, yesterday mulled the appointment of an ad hoc mediation committee to get Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso absent at the extraordinary session to rescind their decision on membership of the Parliament. The first Deputy Speaker of ECOWAS Parliament, Senator Barou Djibrine, stated this during the opening of the 2024 second extraordinary session of the 6th Legislature of the ECOWAS Parliament in Kano. Senator Barou called for strong collaboration between the community's parliament and other ECOWAS institutions to promote democracy, strengthening security, and advance development in the sub-region. Senator Barou further noted that there is a compelling need to build strong collaboration with the ECOWAS Commission and undertake joint initiatives aimed at strengthening regional security and advancing development, adding that while it is true that each institution has its unique prerogative, the fact remains that there exist cross-cutting issues that are best addressed with enhanced collaboration among the community institutions. As the Parliament looks towards facilitating the promotion of democracy, checks and balances, as well as accountability in the ECOWAS community, having a strong ECOWAS Parliament is indispensable. From then on, let's move to Kenya, where Kenya's government has defended the cost of President William Ruto's trip to the US. The price of hiring the luxury private jet in which he and his delegation traveled is estimated to be around $1.5 million. That's about 1.2 million pounds, according to newsmen. Government spokesman Isaac Muwara said that the benefits from this visit far outweighs such 1,000,000 times without confirming the cost. More than 30 persons, including a popular comedian, are reported to be accompanying the president, who landed in Atlanta, Georgia on Monday. Mr. Ruto is on a 4-day visit at the invitation of his U.S. counterpart, Joe Biden. It is the first state visit by a Kenyan president in the U.S. in 2 decades and the first by an African leader in 16 years. He is set to hold talks with Mr. Biden on Thursday, focusing on trade and security partnership, including Kenya's pledge to lead a multinational mission to restore order in Haiti. But some Kenyans have expressed outrage that he chartered an aircraft from the Dubai-owned Royal Jet Company for the trip instead of using his usual presidential plane, given his government's austerity measures and the cost of living crisis. It is not clear why the president opted for the private jet, but there have been safety concerns about the usual presidential plane known as Harambee 1, which was bought nearly 30 years ago. The U.S. government denied reports that it had paid for the aircraft used by Mr. Ruto and his delegation. Mr. Ruto has made more than 50 visits abroad since he became president in 2022, averaging at more than 3 a month. President Emerson Mnangagwa is set to launch the youth service in Zimbabwe at the Haukiwa Vocational Training Center in Unzuba Marabe Fungwe district in Mashonaland, East Province on Friday, the 24th of May. Speaking at the post-cabinet media briefing in Harare, Zimbabwe on Tuesday, Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Service Minister Jefan Musweri said the cabinet received the report on the launch of the Youth Service in Zimbabwe program, which was presented by Vice President Kembo Mohadi. Meanwhile, Musweri said that Mohadi is the chairperson of the Cabinet Committee on State Occasions and National Monuments. The launch of the Youth Service in Zimbabwe program will take place at Hashkiwa Vocational Training Center in the Mzumba Maramba Fungwe district of Mashonaland, East Province on the 24th of May 2024. Running under the theme Empower Youth, Secure the Future, the event will be graced by His Excellency the President, Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, who will deliver the keynote address as well as launch the youth service in Zimbabwe program. Musweri urged Zimbabweans to embrace and support the program, saying it seeks to inculcate values of Ubuntu, patriotism, and leadership of the country's youthful population. Recall that formerly the National Youth Service, the Youth Service Zimbabwe program, is a 6-month training course. More than 30,000 youths drawn from Mashonaland, East Province, as well as delegates from all the country's province are expected to attend the launch. You're still watching the African News on VOP TV. More stories in business and sports after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now moving to some business stories. Microsoft, in partnership with UAE-based AI firm G42, announced a $1 billion investment in a new data center in Kenya, aiming to expand cloud computing services in East Africa. The data center will be powered by geothermal energy and provide access to Microsoft's Azure through a new cloud region. This initiative follows Microsoft's recent $1.5 billion investment in G42, which has started developing an open source AI model in Swahili and English. Microsoft expects the data center to be operational within 2 years, marking a significant boost for Kenya's digital infrastructure and positioning it as a key player in the regional tech landscape. And then in Congo, lawyers representing the Democratic Republic of Congo have presented a new evidence indicating that Apple may be sourcing mineral from conflict zones in the country's east. The evidence provided by whistleblowers raised serious concerns about Apple's supply chain ethics. The lawyers, who had previously notified Apple CEO Tim Cook of these issues, stated that Apple has not responded to their inquiries, prompting them to consider legal actions. The Congo's legal team, led by Amsterdam and Partners LLP, criticized Apple's silence and urged the tech giants to address the allegations urgently. The situation highlights ongoing challenges in securing and ensuring ethical sourcing of mineral crucial for electronic manufacturing, and underscores the need for greater corporate transparency and responsibility. Coca-Cola system, which includes the Coca-Cola Company and its authorized bottler Coca-Cola Beverage Africa, has announced plans to invest up to $175 million in Kenya over the next 5 years. This investment is contingent on achieving the expected growth target in the country. During a meeting with Kenyan President Dr. William Ruto at Coca-Cola's headquarters in Atlanta, Sunil Gupta, CEO of Coca-Cola Beverages Africa, emphasized the company's long-standing presence in Kenya and its commitment to strengthening this legacy through substantial investment. Sunil Gupta explained that the investment aims to enhance Coca-Cola's capacity and capability in Kenya, underscoring the country's belief in the country's economic potential. Lucia Ortega, president of the Coca-Cola Company's Africa's operational unit, highlighted the importance of collaborating with the Kenyan government to create a stable policy environment. She expressed excitement about continuing to grow Coca-Cola's businesses and supporting communities across Kenya, where the company has been a major employer for over 75 years. Coca-Cola's investment strategy includes local hiring, production, distribution, and sourcing. Gupta noted that the company's value chain supports over 1 million livelihoods in distribution and sales, sourcing nearly 8,000 metric tons of mango puree from East African farmers. Ortega concluded by expressing optimism about Kenya's future, stating that Coca-Cola is fully committed to the country's social and economic advancements through continued investment in local businesses and community programs. And then in sports, the Confederation of African Football (CAF) African Schools Football Championship has gotten off to a great start. Ugandan team have excelled, qualifying to represent the zone after winning the boys and the girls category at the CECAFA qualifiers in Nairobi, Kenya. In the first final, Ugandan girls team defeated Kenya's 2-1, followed by the boys team winning the title after beating Tanzania 4-2 on penalties after the match had ended 1-1 in normal time. The winners in each category received a significant prize, with the champions taking home $100,000. The first runners-up receiving $75,000 and the second runners-up getting $50,000. Tanzanian girls has also made a strong start, defeating Morocco 1-0 in their opening match. The action continues with Tanzania facing Uganda in the boys category, while Uganda will also face Senegal. The Tanzanian girls team, now leading Group A, will face Congo, while Uganda will play 2 matches against Togo and the Gambia to determine if they advance to the knockout stage. And with that, we've come to the end of the African news on VOP TV. Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we are at Voice of the People TV, and on all other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. Thank you so very much for being here. I am David Edwin. Do have a good afternoon.